Okay, in this video, I'm going to talk to you about how to build credit. Now, this is not going to be some gimmicky video where I tell you if you do this one thing, your credit score is going to shoot up over 100 points. In this video, I'm going to talk about 3 things, maybe 4, that if you do properly, you will get the initial understanding of credit that you need and learn how to build your credit successfully. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. But before we get started, I have a quick message. Welcome to another video. If you're new here, my name is Dwayne with How to Build Credit TV. And on this channel, I talk about credit cards, and how to make money using credit cards. So be sure to subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Okay, so when it comes to building credit, there's a lot of information on the internet, which includes YouTube, and a lot of it is kind of like, if you do this, your score will skyrocket overnight. Well, in this video, I want to talk to you about 3, maybe 4 things that you can do to learn how to build your credit, how to even fix or repair your credit. And it's not a glamorous video. The things I'm going to talk about are not glamorous. It's just simple, straightforward stuff that if you're serious about building your credit or fixing your credit and you implement these things, you will be successful. So the first thing when it comes to how to build your credit that you need to know is that you should educate yourself. Education is super important. More specifically, what I mean by that is you need to understand what categories make up your credit score. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw on the computer screen right now the credit scoring. There's 5 categories that make up our credit scores, and I got a picture of it on the screen right here. And as you can see, when it comes to building your credit, education is important because you need to know what makes up our credit score. And that's what this chart on the screen is all about. So as you guys can see, there's 35% of our credit score comes from payment history. So basically that's just making payments on time, which is pretty simple and straightforward. But if you're in a situation where you're repairing or rebuilding your credit score, this can be a little tricky. Now, if you're just starting off, payment history is very easy to do. All you have to do is pay your bills on time. And this is all of your bills, not just your credit cards, but anything that if you don't make a payment, it will be reported on your credit report. And that's pretty much anything. That's your cable bill, that's your cell phone bill, that's your student loans, just about anything that you can make a payment on, even though it's not a part of your credit. It can be reported to the credit bureaus and it will affect your credit score. So payment history is very important. The next category is amounts owed. This is also the same as credit card utilization. So that category is 30% of our overall credit score. And a simple way to understand that is if you had one credit card with a $1,000 credit limit, if you're using $700, you are using 70% of your overall credit limit, and that is not good. In order to maximize and get the most out of this one category, the amounts owed or credit card utilization, in order to get the majority of the 30%, you need to have your credit usage be between 0% and 10%. So if you had a $1,000 credit card, that would be a balance of $0 up to $100. Okay, so that's actually very important. The next thing that's important is length of history or average age of credit. So it matters how long you have established credit. This is very important. It's 15% of your score. So it's 127 points on a 850 points scale. It's important, but at the same time, if you're just starting, you could still have a credit score over 700 easily without having a long history of credit cards or making payments in general. The next category is going to be new credit or hard inquiries. So this is basically when you're applying for a credit card or a loan. Anytime you are having your credit run to get, some kind of financing or credit card, this is what this category is, and that's 10%. So that's 85 points of our overall credit score. And then the last one is credit mix or types of credit. That's another 10%. So types of credit or credit mix would be like having a credit card versus having a store credit card versus having a car loan versus having a mortgage. That's different types of credit. That's not something that you need to worry about, and make sure you go out and have a good credit mix. So So it's very important, like I said, the first thing when it comes to how to build your credit or even just maintaining your credit is to be educated on the 5 categories that make up our credit score. And that's why I spent time talking about that. The next thing, if you're serious about learning how to build your credit, is you want to be responsible. And by being responsible, I mean that once you get credit or you have any kind of bill that you have to pay, make sure that you continuously pay those bills on time. It's very imperative for you to do that, because in doing that, you're developing good payment history and you're showing future lenders that you are reliable, you are consistent, they can trust you. They can trust you so much that they're going to extend a credit card to you or a loan. That's why payment history is very, very important. It is very important that you are responsible when you have your credit. Now, I have a 17-year-old son. He'll be 18 in the month of August. And I talk to him about it all the time. I'm like, son, don't mess up your credit. Before you mess your credit up, please communicate to me and reach out to me. I would rather help you than for you to mess your credit up, because if you have good credit and you're starting off with good credit, like my son will have an advantage if he chooses to listen to me, then you can get things, and by things I'm talking about assets. As a matter of fact, you can get a house at 21, 22, and then turn around and decide that you want to rent that house out 4 or 5 years later and get yourself another house. So these are conversations that I try to have with my kids to try to kind of elevate them. But yeah, it's very important for you to be responsible. Once you finally have credit, you got to be responsible. Now, if you're in a position where you are repairing your credit or rebuilding or fixing your credit, the same thing still applies. You still have to be responsible. You still have to make your payments on time, but you're just going to have to be patient, which is the third thing that I want to talk about in regards to how to build your credit. Sometimes, especially if you're rebuilding it, you have to be patient. And patience is a virtue. You know, that saying exists for a reason. But yeah, you got to be patient. Sometimes there is no quick fix. You know, I know that we are part of a instant gratification society. I know that I want something and I want it now. You know what I mean? So I get it. But at the same time, if you are building your credit, or even worse, repairing or fixing your credit, you have to be patient. And that is very, very important. As a matter of fact, I was watching TV the other day. I was watching America's Got Talent. And I'm going to put the link in the description of this that I'm going to tell you about. But I was watching America's Got Talent, and there was a contestant on the show, and this guy spent 37 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. And I was like, wow, 37 years. You know, DNA evidence was able to free him, which is really, really cool. But that was still 37 years. You know, now the good news is it's not going to take you 37 years to get your credit in order. You know, worst case scenario, worst case, it could take you 7 years, but that's absolute worst case scenario. But the thing about that story that I liked so much, that touched me, was I try to understand what it was like in his shoe. You know, I'm like, man, 37 years. Here I am, 42 years old. And I'm like, 37 years, like, man, that's, if I think about the first 37 years of my life, that is a long, long time. And I'm pretty sure what kept him going, which is very important, is the fact that he was hopeful. He was hopeful. He had hope. So as long as there's hope, even in regards to your personal life or your credit, as long as there's hope and you take action, in some cases, massive action, you will do well. You'll come out on the other side. And once again, I'm going to link that in the description just because I was blown away by that story. Now, I know that I'm getting older because, all of a sudden, I'm more concerned with empathy, which is not a word that I was very familiar with 10 years ago. People don't know the difference between sympathy and empathy, but I know that I was appreciating that story. And so I decided to share that with you guys because, you have to be patient. You have to be knowledgeable. You got to get yourself informed when it comes to credit, especially if you want to know how to build it. And, like I told you in the beginning of the video, this is not some glorious video and, like so hype. It's a real video. When you don't have money to do certain things or expedite certain things, you have to take the time that it takes. And if you're rebuilding or repairing your credit, it's definitely going to take time. That's why I dedicated this channel, How to Build Credit TV. I named it How to Build Credit TV on purpose because I wanted to make sure that I was talking to at least the audience that is always going to be interested in how to build your credit, how to fix your credit. There's always going to be people out there, so I thought that was a decent name for the channel because that makes sense to me, and that's going to be something that's going to be relevant forever. Now, we do live streams on the channels on Monday, on the channel, singular. We do live streams on the channel on Mondays at 7 p.m. Central. So if you want to come and participate in that live stream, have your questions answered live, I'd love to have you in the community, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. Once again, the 3 things that I talked about, or 3.5 things that I talked about, was the fact that you need to educate yourself in regards to credit. You need to know the 5 categories, how they work, how you can manipulate them and have them work to your benefit. You need to be responsible, which includes paying your bills on time all the time. If you need to set a reminder in your phone, that's what I do sometimes. Set a reminder so you don't miss a payment, but be responsible, pay all of your bills, all of them, not just your credit card bills, all of them on time. And then the 3rd thing was to simply be patient. You got to be patient. If you don't have the money to spend, you know, like I'm going to spend all this money on credit repair, then you're going to have to just be patient, be consistent. And then the last thing I talked about was the simple fact that as long as you have hope and you take action, sometimes massive action, you will do well. And this is something that I know from my personal life experiences that is absolutely true. Anyway, thank you so much for watching the video. If you like the video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and feel free to share the video with somebody that may find it helpful. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Once again, I talk about credit cards, and how to make money using credit cards. So be sure to subscribe, click that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Once again, my name is Dwayne with How to Build Credit TV, and I approve this video. I'll see you in the next video. Until next time, take care and be blessed. Peace.